stuff. Let's get a bit of down-tempo action going on. Welcome to What Problem with me. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to take music that I found. Well, X Express. It's called Kiro. It's a new interactive development environment, otherwise known as an IDE, ladies and gentlemen, called Kiro. And Kiro is from the people at Amazon. It's all about Amazon Web Services. It's in the cloud. And it's a competitor, if you will, to Visual Studio Code. Feels a little bit like Cursor. It is actually a fork of Visual Studio Code. And today I wanted to take you on a little bit of a gander because I have a project in mind. And what's your problem? It's actually there for your problems, not mine, not my brain rumblings, not my brain prams, while I'm trying to give birth to a brand new product baby. So please do get in touch with me on YouTube or LinkedIn if you want me to explore a problem that you've got. Can be any kind of problem, can be a business problem, can be a personal problem. If you want me to do a bit of ASMR, that's all right. Not even considered it before, but you know, these things come to life out of nothing, don't they? So I want to tell you a little bit about the problem first, the problem space. Okay, forget about the Alan Partridge stuff here. I use something called U.com, which is a bit like Perplexity, which is a compendium of different AI models, and you go in and it's essentially a chatbot. It's like OpenAI, ChatGPT, or Gemini, something like that. So my latest musing, I had a lot of really interesting conversations over the past few days with some really smart people, making me feel this big, but in a very nice way. So I have been thinking, we had a really good conversation yesterday because I was thinking about building a parenting platform. Because I've been thinking for a while about doing like a dad advice podcast. That's dad advice, not dad's vices. I've got plenty of them with my impending kid in the autumn. So I wanted to really canvass some of my great friends with kids who all look the dads, by the way, who all look absolutely knackered, to say, how'd you do it? Because I ain't got a clue. And yeah, I know you're not supposed to read books and stuff. So I wanted to ask them. This could wrap nicely into a parenting platform. And I was thinking about something like 18year.rs. I think that's the Serbian top level domain. Anyway, it's available. But we'll move on because it's quite novel, isn't it? You want to have a relationship with your kids not only when they're young, because I'm creating like a baby tracker app for me, but obviously as they enter into their young years, then their early years, teenage years, and then you go bye-bye, probably about the age of 18, but you know, keeping that relationship going and learning together. And this is where this comes in. You know, I'm a mad fan of learning. Ever since I left school, I've started to enjoy learning. Big up Birkdale High School in Southport for boys. So just saying. So I have been looking for a while around things like EdTech, educational technology, and schools. And here in Germany, homeschooling is banned. It's illegal. It's been illegal for 53 years. If you do it, you get slung in jail. And they're serious. They're serious about it. But they do run the smartphone free movement, so they're very much in the vein that I am, which is, if possible, phones and money out of schools. Put it in the head teacher's pocket, out of schools, because the theory is that reduces bullying and it increases attention. The less money there is floating about, the less application distraction, the more you can focus on why you're at school, or why most people think you should be at school, which is to learn. So this here came from a conversation that I had yesterday. I've been thinking for a while around knowledge graphs, which is essentially like a spinning orb of connections. Imagine your brain, but without the lumps. It's like a circle. If you've seen the BBC Orbit website, which is like serendipitous discovery of music from independent artists, you should check it out. I love it. It's great because I sometimes get lost in Spotify I created an app called Spetify, which was to create a better version of Discover Weekly, incidentally, and it was great. I also managed to tweak it so that it could go to the BBC website and pull off all of the tracks from Lisa Tarbuck's last 5 shows and create a playlist to that. I thought that was really helpful, especially because she plays such an eclectic range of songs. I think there was a reason for this. So you'll see at the top of the screen, Personal Knowledge Compass. My thesis, I want to learn more about the world and I want to make sure that it sticks. And there's so much mass media attention on certain topics. I'm not interested in that. I want to learn, physics and biology and humanities, societal stuff, cultural stuff. And I want to understand, I want to know what I know. Very difficult otherwise. And YouTube, obviously, real big fan of that these days. It does feel like the internet's university. Don't get a certificate, which is a shame, but I'm working on that. And I want to create a graph that shows me, based on YouTube, and then of asking me questions, because it's very easy to build mini courses now, thanks to AI, to really sort of firm up, to strengthen my knowledge that can be displayed in a UI like a knowledge graph, and then find gaps and then perhaps guide me to videos or resources where I can fill those gaps in and really get a more expansive knowledge of the world. A number of conversations you have where people just take you down a road and they're asking you questions, and I'm like, mate, I've got no idea. But I think there's a way that we can get a more solid grounding for the world we live in and the important things that isn't dependent. Like, I hated history at school, but I think there's a really good opportunity to learn all about it. I am a disciple at the font of Dan Carlin, who created the Hardcore History series. Amazing. A friend of mine today recommended Predictive History, which is all about game theory. So I'll be going down that rabbit hole. But, to actually have a sense of what you've learned is great for the soul. It's great for further growth, but it's also great to give yourself a pat on the back sometimes and go, no, I do know a lot. It's just often we forget about that or we choose to oversee it. So working with you.com, I created like a rough approximation of what this platform might look like, and we went into detail around high-level architecture. By the way, I'm using OpenAI's O3 Pro model for this. U.com is great. It provides you with a ton of different models. I'm on the Pro plan, $20 a month. It's brilliant. Anyway, so this is almost like a technical overview of what needs to happen, and we'll work with the YouTube API. We'll work with an AI API, which in this case will be Gemini. I don't know if you know, but if you go to aistudio.google.com and you create an account, you can use some of the latest Gemini models via the API for free. There's a rate limit, I think, of 50 a day or 100 a day or 50 an hour. It all depends. And if you go to aistudio.google.com and you go to the studio section, I think on the right hand side, I could probably show you. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm just waiting for Sora to produce a new poster, by the way. Let's see. This is for this show. What's your problem? I like that. Oh, classic. I like the one on the left. I'm not sure they quite got it right on the right. Jesus, they've put 20 years on me. But no, I like the what's your problem on the left. I'm going to use that one. Yeah, I like that. High stakes, high states. States, UK, US relations. It'll do it. No end of good. Anyway, so on you.com, I've created this PRD, product requirements document. Goes through the build guide, which is great. YouTube API key, got that. That's all cool. I'm not going to go into detail about that right now. But what I'm going to do is switch to Kiro, which is a CLI. So I'm not going to go into too much detail around lots and lots of bits and pieces. I'm going to play with it actually, and I'm going to see how we get on. So what it's already done here, you'll be able to see, is it's created a design document and it's created a requirements document. So we're starting to pull together the bones of this application. By the way, Kiro at the moment, while it's in beta, is offering free Anthropic Claude Sonnet 4 tokens. So if you're watching this now and you fancy delving into the world of agentic AI coding, now is the time. So I checked through the design, and to be honest with you, a lot of it is looking great. It has successfully captured the tech spec. It's produced a mermaid graph, which is brilliant. I don't know if, do you want to have a look at that? I could put that into mermaid.js if that's any use to you. I might just open this up here, so we can take a look. This is all live and I'm sharing my whole screen, so I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants today. But it's very clear now how we're going to make this work. It gives some coding samples so that the agent, when it actually starts to code, can actually build this in real time, which is great. The dependencies there and the libraries and the frameworks, and that'll all be covered through package.json, which is a standard file that you get inside any code base. Knowledge extractor looking great. This all makes a lot of sense. It's got a graph database manager. The database manager is really important because that will fulfill the requirements of the knowledge graph and allow me to continually improve that by providing feedback on videos that I watch. And by using the YouTube API, be able to automatically get a sense of the videos that I watch. So I've got to be really careful that I'm only watching stuff on this specific account that contributes to my learning and nothing else. Sorry, Mr. Beast. Another day, another dollar. Right, so I'm going to move to the implementation plan now because this seems great. We've got all the technical fundamentals in place. This is great. So straight away, Kiro is now going to get into the meat and potatoes of this. I think this is great now. It's creating a tasks markdown file. So this is going to be the heartbeat of the project. The tasks markdown file is going to give the AI coding agents a really good overview of what they need to do to achieve the objective. And it'll break it down in a real simple machine readable format. Now, because Kiro's getting hammered at the moment because it's its first day, it's brand new, it's just been birthed. The response rate is probably not as fast as you would expect if you were using Klein with Visual Studio Code, but you can see now it's slowly cranking into life. It's going to start now writing this task list. So there we go. We've got already got a set of this implementation plan already is giving me some hope that Kiro has got its nuts and bolts in the right place, and it's sequential. I suspect it's going to be chronological. So as I say, I've not seen this interface before. Nobody has, first time. But I'm really liking how it makes things super, super simple. So we've got 15 main tasks. You can see in the right-hand sidebar now that it's going through all the tasks and how they contribute to each other. So I will now go through these tasks in some detail. I like that it's using Streamlit, by the way. If you've ever used Streamlit, I've not seen Streamlit proposed for a long time. It's usually all JavaScript, TypeScript, and these don't necessarily support this specific interface, which almost like creates its own independent browser interface. Usually when you're using localhost and you're testing in your local environment, it just sits in a browser tab. Streamlit has some more permissions and some more tighter governance as it works within its own window, entirely liberated from any other browser display. So it just makes it feel a lot more like a regular application, like a Microsoft Word or an Excel, which sits in its own window and it can't be disturbed by other tabs because it is the tab. So we've got the error handling, which is great. I suspect I'm going to find testing, which is yet task 13. Not seen an awful lot about security and governance yet. I'm really sensitive about that these days when I'm coding, because it's really important that we make sure that none of our sensitive data is exposed to the wider world and hackers. But because this is a local application only, at least for the short term, not too worried about that. I see we're working with Docker. Docker's fully installed here, so I can work with that, and Neo4j as well, which is another really powerful way of building these applications. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to finalize that task list now, and Kiro is going to spring into life and start to rationalize this, solidify it, and prepare it for work, for the development work to begin, which is great. So that's doing its thing now. I'm really happy with how this is looking so far, and I think on the next episode of What's Your Problem, I'll give you a bit of a glimpse as to how far we've progressed with this application, but so far so good. And I hope you've enjoyed this little chat. I like to get together with you when I can. And we didn't get back to the mermaid chart, did we? Let's see if I can do that quite quickly. No, I won't go through that. That's for another day. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for a glimpse at Kiro. And if you've got anything else you'd like to talk about on What's Your Problem, if you've got a business problem you'd like to bring to my door, I'm sure we can solve it together. But things are cooking. Things are looking really good for AI.